It's February 8th, year 2026. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everyone. So today we're going to take advantage of this beautiful morning to create our FrankenFig. I have this yellow long neck fig in a 25-gallon pot. It's doing very good. What's most important is that it's starting to sprout little shoots. Means that this is the perfect time to do some grafts onto it. For these are our tools. We're going to use some pruning shears, grafting knife, some alcohol to disinfect the tools, some paper bags, wrapping tape, parafilm, aluminum foil, Ziplocs, stapler, and a brush. And of course, the most important stuff, Scion wood. All right, I'm ready to start. First, we are going to disinfect our tools. This is a very important part that often we forget to do. Regular alcohol, spray it on your tools generously. Take a brush, brush off all the residue from previous jobs that we did. Once you brush it, you spread it again, and that's it. We're going to let the air taking care of drying it for a little bit. We have 8 different kinds of figs. We have the wild Adriatic, emerald strawberry, panache, Delsen, Jaume Grand fig, Kelly Lynn, white Marcel, Peter's honey, and the TFH 378 BRB from the Fig Hunter. All right, so I'm going to keep my Scions cool inside the cooler. So we need to prevent dehydration from the sun. So I'm just gonna grab one for now. I'm going to try to match its width with one of the branches, and then we'll cut the branch and do our graft. So let's take one by and randomly. So we got Peter's honey to do first. The other ones go back in the cooler. And the cooler is in a shaded place just to keep it, cool. All right, let's do it. This is the branch that I have selected to graft Peter's honey. So we're gonna take our Scion wood. We're going to try to match the thickness. I don't want to have my graft on a curve like this. I want a little bit of a straight edge. So I'm just gonna cut it right there. And this is what we're gonna use. So I'm gonna try to match the width, and I see that this part here is straight, and it's a pretty good match. Okay, so I want to cut this right there, and we're gonna save our cuttings so we can root our cuttings of yellow long neck. All right, that's a very good match. I like what I see. So in this case, the wood is not too thick, and it's narrow enough to do a cleft style graft. So number one, I'm going to wrap my Scion wood with some parafilm. Parafilm is a wax tape that when you stretch it, it releases the wax and very much sticks to itself. So I want to start on the bottom. I want to leave a good inch and a half to make my cut, and then I'm going to stretch it, and I'm going to wrap it, try to keep it as one single layer with a little bit of tension so it can not trap too much air between the buds and on the tape. Okay, I want to need a little more piece so we can wrap the tip here. Once I get to the end, I'm just gonna twist it and break that, no? And that's our tip. See how good wrap it is? So now I'm going to take my tools, having previously disinfected, and I'm going to try to find the best match. I think if it goes this way, it will be perfect. I don't want my graft to go like this, no, down. I want my tree to grow upwards and to the side a little bit. So right there, I'm going to make my wedge here. And see the cut straight. I want to start at the same place where the other cut is and opposite, and make another cut. This side is good. This side is not so good. So I'm going to do it again. Here, I like this one. You see how it is? It's got a nice edge. We got plenty of bark and ends on an edge, right? This side is a little bit narrower and we lost a little barking here. So we're going to focus on this side. For that, we said we're going to do it like this. And I'm going to make my cut right in the middle. And just let the knife do the work. About an inch and a half. Remove it. We're going to place our Scion wood. In this case, I'm focusing on the bottom side because that's where I have a better bark to make good contact. Down here, if I pass my finger, it feels really smooth. That means that both barks match, they coincide, and therefore their cambium layers also coincide. Okay, I see that my rootstock goes a little bit like that, so I want to remove the tip so we have a better contact. So we'll just go down here, and that feels a lot better. Let's see if it fits well. Yeah, it fits a lot better now. There we go. Feels really good on the bottom. And the top wasn't a perfect match, so I have a little bit of a dip in here, a little bit of a bump. My finger doesn't feel smooth, but when I pass my finger down here, it feels really smooth. That means our cambium layers have been well aligned. I'm going to take a little bit more of parafilm, and I'm going to start wrapping from the bottom of the cut and go up like this. You stretch it and then cover. You stretch it and cover, and put emphasis in doing a couple of wraps or more right where the two pieces meet, the scion and the rootstock. So something like that. So the next thing what we want to do is keep this union very secure. So for that, we're going to use some tape and apply some pressure to it. So we're going to take this tape. This tape is marking tape, surveyor's tape. You can find it at any hardware store. So I'm going to take the first wrap, and then I'm going to stretch it a little bit and continue wrapping. I'm going to go past the union and try to create a good seal here by pulling down like this instead of up. Okay, couple more turns right there, and then I'm going to spin it like this and put a little bit of pressure to my joint places, like so. Yeah, that feels good. And then I'm going to make a loop right there, and I'm going to pass the end of the tape through it and then pull. Okay, the most important part is that this part doesn't disconnect. If it disconnects, traps air inside, and the two cambium layers don't have a chance to join together and interchange those regenerating cells to create a good healed point of connection. So I'm going to add a little more tape in here. So I don't care about the color. I'm just, feel like whatever color is good. So the same thing, I'm just gonna go around, wrap it again. And then I'm going to make a knot. This is for insurance. So your first tape keeps it together, and the second tape also keeps it together. Whichever one of them breaks, you have insurance, right? You have a second set of tape that is going to keep it together. All right, so that's our graft. Very next thing, I'm going to grab a zip log. This zip log it's about 4 by 8, 4 by 7.5, 4 by 8, and I'm going to place it on top, and I'm going to zip it from both sides, like so. And then I'm going to use my stapler, and I'm going to staple it like that. So the connection of the zip lock will not get undone and blown by the wind. So that's it. Now you see this angle in here. This is going to create a lot of moisture. Sometimes it creates too much moisture, and you collect water, and that water will be deposited in this corner. You don't want a whole lot of water and moisture in it, because it could compromise your graft. So what I'm going to do, I want to make a small cut right here in the corner. Okay, just like that, just enough to let the water out, right? So whatever water accumulates will find its least the lowest point, and then just drip from there, and you still have enough moisture on the graft, and you have escape for the water. All right, very last thing. So we have created a good seal with the parafilm. On top, we have created a microclimate with a greenhouse effect by using the plastic. Now we need to protect it from the sun. This graft could take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to sprout, and until then we're going to have some hot days, and we're going to have some days that are cool. So a paper bag on top will keep your graft from being damaged from the sun. I'm gonna grab a piece of tape, I'm just gonna tape it right here, just so the wind won't blow it. That's the only thing I want, is the wind not to blow it away. You can do it like this. It's pretty easy to undo it and take a peek. You can take a peek from the bottom and see how is that going. But this is not gonna be blown by the wind, right? So that's the most important part. Or you can also use a staple and bring it together and staple it. Boom, right there, right? It does the same thing very much. I'm just gonna keep it like that, so I have some air circulation inside. When it gets too hot, you know, that air will cool it down a little bit. And also when it gets too cold, that trapped air works as an insulator. You can also use those bubble mailer. You know, it's like an envelope with some bubble wrap inside. That's a very good thing to use too, because all that air that is trapped in the bubbles works as an insulator for cold as well as for heat. So either way, today I don't have any of those bags, but I would prefer to use those shipping bubble mailers. All right, so let's move on and let's do our next. Before we continue, I forgot to do one of the most important things. You want to put a label on your graft so you know what it is. And also you put a date. So in this case, Peter's Honey 28. So we know this was grafted on February 28th. So we can keep track, you know, how long it takes to take, how long it takes to grow, what style of graft, where you can see the style of graft that we're doing. We're going to practice some other styles in some other places. So once I have the tag, I'm just going to tie it to the branch somewhere, right? Something like this. This tape stretches, so even if the little branch from the rootstock grows, the tape also will stretch. All right, so Peter's Honey 28, and that's complete. All right, let's move on. Oh, before we move on, I'm going to start putting in the cooler my cuttings and also the other end of my Scion wood. We will root these later and have new fig trees coming up. So the Peter's Honey goes back in the bag and into the cooler, and the cutting goes like that into the cooler. So I keep separated my rootstock yellow long neck from my Scion wood. All right, let's continue. So my next variety is going to be the Quarry Fig Wild Adriatic. And I have selected this Scion wood from here, and I'm going to graft it in this opposite branch so we have a balanced growth on our tree. What you notice is that this one is thinner than the rootstock. It's okay. So we're going to practice in this case a modified cleft. The first one was a cleft that was done exactly down the middle, and the modified cleft will be done on one side of my Scion wood, okay, to accommodate for the width difference. All right, so let's start by cutting my Scion, and I can see I got some nice budding right here. I'm going to spare the tip to do a little bit of a actually I like the tip to graft. It's got some nice buds trying to grow. Let's see how it does. Okay, let's do it. Okay, once we have this, I'm just gonna find an area that's straight, like right there. Okay, I'm going to save this piece. This is the rootstock, and this is my Scion. As you can see, there is a big difference in width, right? So number one, we're going to wrap it, grab a piece of parafilm, And then we're going to start on the bottom. We're going to use more or less from here to here. So I'm going to break this bud over there, and we're going to take it of 1, 2, 3 buds up here and see what happens. So we're going to start wrapping just about there, and I'm going to stretch it and wrap it. Oops, broke, but that doesn't matter. Just put it on top, stretch and wrap it, stretch and wrap it, stretch and wrap. And once we get to the tip, we're going to cover everything like so and create a good seal. Okay, this is our Scion wood. So now what we need to do here, I can see that my branch is round on the bottom. It has a little bit narrow part on the top. So I'm going to more or less match this, and I'm going to find the wider area over here, and this is what I'm going to use. So for that, I'm going to cut my wedge from here to there. Okay, the other side, exactly on the opposite side, which is going to be from here. Try to cut away from you if you don't have a lot of experience cutting, just to avoid cutting yourself, right? Okay, I like that. I'm going to remove a little bit of the paraffin from the bottom so will not interfere with our contact area. And then we're going to make a cut on the top side over here, and it's going to be offset, a little bit offset. So I'm letting the knife do the work. And okay, so we made our cut offset from the center, and now we're going to insert our Scion wood. So I'm more focused on one side, matching the bark on one side. Yeah, there, that feels good. So this side is pretty smooth, and the back side ended up being a little bit too thick. So yeah, I don't have a good contact on the back, but I have good contact in the front. So now I'm going to wrap it with some paraffin. What, I'm not too happy with this union over here. I can see some air gap trapped. So I'm going to discard this for now. And I'm going to take the other piece and make a better cut. Okay, so let's start by wrapping this up. And more or less from here. Again, stretch and wrap. Once we get to the top, we're just going to twist it. And those are Scion wood. I'm going to create my wedge. I like it like that. We're looking for a straight cut, more or less I think like this will go well. So there and there. Okay, see, that looks pretty good. So next I'm going to remove this has dehydrated a little bit up to now, and I'm going to cut the bud because we have a bud over here. I'm just going to take it off like that, and then make my cut. Like we said, we're going to make it a little bit offset. Okay, just like that, about 1.5 inches or so. And I'm going to insert my Scion wood, and I have a really good connection point now here on the back. This side I'm not too concerned, but for visual purposes I'm going to use that side so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There. See, we have a good point of connection from both cambiums on the rootstock as well as the Scion wood. The back, I'm not too concerned. Just concerned on one side, and that's enough to create, to heal, and then start creating some new tissue around the graft. And eventually, it will look pretty good. So I'll take a piece of wrapping parafilm, start from the bottom, a little bit of a stretch. And again, this is to create a good seal so no air nor moisture can get in the point of connection. So my point of connection, I'm going extra drops in there, and that's it. So then we're going to grab some tape, again we're going to start from the bottom, and then I'm going to stretch it a little bit, stretch it, go over the point of connection, create a good seal like so, and then twist it and go around a couple of times before I make a loop, and I feed the other end through the loop and pull. All right, there we go. Insurance, another piece of tape. We'll just twist it, start at the top, point of connection, just like that. Keep applying a little bit of pressure. And then just make a knot, double, and another one down here. I mean, it's just insurance, right? Okay. Now remove a little bit of the excess, not too much, just like that. Take the ziplock, place it on top, zip it on one side. I'm just gonna zip it like that, okay? It doesn't have to be right in the middle. You can do it on one end, it's the same. Put the staple, make a small cut down here so the water can drain. Use your paper. How about let's put a tag. So we said this is FrankenFig Wild Adriatic. FrankenFig Wild Adriatic. Date 2/8/26. Okay, so we take our tape, our tag is ready to be put in place. And now we can put our paper bag and keep it from dehydrating. A little bit of tape. And here I'm just gonna tie both ends down here, just with a single nut, so I can undo it anytime that I need to check inside what's going on, like that. So this is not going anywhere. Perfect. All right, let's keep on working. For our third graft, I'm selecting this long branch in here. I don't want my fig tree to grow huge, right? I want to keep it short. So I'm going to somehow just cut it over here and do my graft, or I can go even lower. I think if I go here, it will be a good point of connection. I like this straight part. So let's do our cut right there. I'm going to store these. And my next graft is going to be Del Sen Jaume Grand Fig. I'm going to choose something that is budding. I like this one. See all the buds ready to push? All right, so let's do this one. You see the difference in width? That's a big difference. So we're gonna have to, here, we're gonna have to do like a side graft. So we're gonna make our connection point on one side of the branch, just like that. I wanna put the balance away. So I'm going to start wrapping it, covering this bud over here. Just like that. And then I will start moving up, like so. Stretch and wrap, stretch it, and wrap it. And I'm going to try to cover this tip as best as possible. Yeah, this is looking good. All right, that's my wrap. So next thing, I'm going to grab, so here what we're going to do, we're going to remove some bark from this side, and then we will create a one-sided wedge in here and somehow connecting them together. For that, first I'm going to clean up my cut. The branch is a little thicker, so your cut sometimes is not as sharp. So I'm taking the knife and cleaning up any rough edges, so I'll have some good cambium flowing from a nice cut, just like that. All right, so we'll do it on this side so you can see what I'm doing. So first thing, I like that connection, makes a good connection right there. Okay, so I'm going to take this, cut me a wedge, a one-sided wedge, and then from the back I want to cut a little bit like that. Okay, see, now I'm going to make a cut about the same length from here to here, very much. And what I'm going to do first, I want to create a little slot like that, and then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to go and remove a little bit past the bark. You see that? And then I want to take the longer cut towards the branch, and the little cut's going to get trapped there, right? So I have to make sure that I have a good point of connection. So I'm going to use this side so you guys can visually see what I mean. See that point of connection? If I pass my finger over, feels really smooth, meaning both barks are making a good match. On the back, they're not matching, but I don't care. It's just one side that I care at this point. Preferably, you want to have both sides of your Scion to match, right? But I don't have anything enough branches in my tree to create that. So I'm just gonna have to adapt So let's make sure we have a good connection here. It's really good. So we have a good cambium connection right here, and we have another point of connection here in the little slot. So that doubles our chances. So I'm gonna go from the bottom, wrap it, another wrap, and start going up. Oh, I'm gonna have to redo this thing. Kind of misaligned there, okay. And I'm going to not stretch out my tape and use some more tape to get my good point of connection. Oh, that connects really well. All right. Especially here, I need to make sure that we create a good seal around. First, I'm going to wrap my Scion wood like that. And then I'll try to make a good seal. My Scion moved a little bit, so I'm checking here that I still have a good connection, and I do. Take a little piece more, and now I'm gonna focus on sealing this area up here. Okay, like so. See how I'm sealing it? Okay, that's good. Next, we're gonna take some tying tape. Start from the bottom, making sure all our cuts are under the tape, so we have no point of dehydration, no place where the air can get in, nor the moist, the water or whatever it may accumulate inside the plastic bag, right? Sometimes you get a little bit too much condensation and you have water. I think I'm going to take this and hold it right there. I'm gonna grab another piece. And I'm going to continue, because I think I cut it too short for what I needed to do. And then I'm going to twist it and tie it right around the trunk, create a loop, and pass the other end through the loop. And pull. Insurance. I'm going to leave one end long so I can make a knot at the end. Twist and start from the bottom or the top. Doesn't really matter as long as you have good pressure on your connection. And that's it. It's really good. Make a knot. I'm going to go around and make another knot. Well, let's make a double knot in here. Okay. Go to the other side. This is just insurance. The worst thing that can happen is for your tape to come loose and allow air inside your connecting points. Cool. That looks really good. Little ziplock. See what I'm doing? Ziplock has a little bit of an incline going that way, and that, like that, the water is going to be able to flow down and go through the gap that we're leaving in there. But we want to use staples so it won't come off with the wind and have our graft exposed to the sun, dehydration, and all that. Okay, so let's tie it. Oh, our tag. Let's not forget our tag. I'm going to put this temporarily here. They'll send. The tag is DELSEN FrankenFig. Fig. It was 2826. Secure our tag. So they'll send Xiaomi FrankenFig 2826. I got these Scion woods, these cuttings, randomly. I didn't really look for any special variety. I just decided whatever I could have or get, that's what I will graft, and be surprised with what kind of figs we get from here. Okay, so I got my tag. I'm just gonna secure this bag in place. Okay, that's it. That's our next graft. So we got three kinds of grafts, no? So we made a cleft, we made a modified cleft, and now we have made like a side graft on this side, on this other branch. I have plenty more to do, so I'm not gonna bore you repeating the same kind of grafts. What I'm going to do, I'm gonna finish and then go back and explain what we have made. Here I'm working on another side graft, and just want to get you up close so you can see the detail. You see this part over here is going to make a good connection point right there, right? And this other side makes a good connection point on this side. So this is what we need to have. It's a good match, good connection, at least on one side, right? The other side, we're not perfect on this side, but still we have no good connection right here, but here on the top we do have some connection. So I'm having like 3 points of connection on this one, which is pretty good. So I'm gonna finish wrapping it. Take a piece of parafilm, and I'm going to make sure that I do not, once I have my Scion in place, I do not move. So I'm going to add a little bit of pressure here on the bottom first, and then make sure everything is aligned. And every wrap I'm going to check, making sure that everything is aligned, and it is pretty aligned. So I need to continue creating a nice seal up here. Cut another little piece and just seal it like that, no? Yeah, looks pretty good. I want to tie it using some of this tape. Start from the bottom, go over it, so now you can start pulling a little bit, stretching it, and creating a good seal, especially up here. So I'm gonna wrap it and go down like this, and that creates a really good seal. Twist it, secure the point of connection, like that. Insurance, more tape. It's two very important things to be concerned about here. when it's your point of contact, you have a good match on your cambium layers. Cambium is right below the bark, so you match the barks, you have a good chance to be matching the cambiums. And the second is your point of connection. Tight. One more drop right there, and I want to make an knot like this. Okay, looks good. Little plastic bag. I'm experimenting here with different types. Some of them have foil under the plastic. Some of them have foil over the plastic. Some of them have foil and paper. Some have paper on top of the foil. So we'll see what works. I think they all work, really. Important things are keep your graft moist. That's why we put the plastic, right? Second, keep your graft cool and shaded. That's why we have the bag. So as long as you have a good connection point, good tight seal, you have your greenhouse effect, you have your water drainage, right? And you have your shade. That's basically all you need. From there, chances for your graft to take and succeed are pretty high. There. I want to add my tag. And this is the THF378 BRB, date 2826. This variety comes from the Fig Hunter. For next graft, we have this variety called Kelly Lynn. And I have selected this piece of Scion wood. We have nice budding growing here. So next, I'm just gonna wrap it. First, let me put this back in the cooler. I'm going to take a piece of butter film. I'm going to use this part for my cut. So I'm going to start covering from this bud and up. Once I have a good seal, I can just keep on covering. Oh, I dropped it. Let's try it again. All right. Start right here. You find your best way of covering your Scion wood. Some people just spin the Scion wood. I like to do both. Sometimes I spin it, sometimes I wrap it like this, going around. Well, it depends. But you feel that moment, right? Okay, so this is all wrapped and ready to be grafted. Let me grab my pruning shears here. I'm not going to do it like that. I want to select an area where it's starting to grow up instead of sideways or down. So I like my graft to be right there. I'm going to cut it right here. So next I'm going to redo my V shape in here. I don't like that V shape, so I make something longer than that. I believe the longer your connection point is, the better chance you're gonna have to be able to succeed. So I'm just gonna make a V I want to make a wedged, a little bit of an offset, modify cleft, just to compensate for the difference in thickness. I'm going to insert it. And it looks pretty good on this side, right? So let me bring you closer so you can see what I mean. See right here, my connecting point is very good. I have my both barks doing a good match, and the cambium layer right below it is also doing a good match. So I'm going to take my parafilm and wrap it so we keep it protected, moist, and not allowing it to dry and getting dehydrated. I'm also taking care of wrapping my Scion, the areas that were exposed. Make it a point of using enough parafilm to have a good protection. Parafilm being wax, it kind of disintegrates with the heat and the sun and time. So the more layers I put in the connecting points, I believe it's going to survive longer. All right, let's finish making our connecting to our last wrap with the marking tape, creating a good seal. And once I'm there, I'm going to twist it and make sure my connecting points are really tight. That feels so good. Okay, there. Insurance. Piece of tape for insurance. We cut this up. We got this little piece of extra tape in here. Okay. And I'll take these. I'm gonna twist it. And all of this second one is gonna be insurance. If one fails, the other one secures our points in connection. All right, let's make a knot. Here I found a really good match. You see that? And my Scion, my rootstock straight. My Scion is also straight. So I'm going to make my graft right there. Cut it down first. Given the width, I like that cleft. So I'm just gonna make a simple cleft graft. Take it down the middle in an angle, and take the opposite side and do the same. Okay, that's not too bad. Here I need to give it just a little more of an angle. There we go. Can you see this? It looks pretty nice. The other side also looks nice. So I'm going to make my cut like that, so my Scion will be supported. If I make it vertical, it's a good chance it may move if anybody touches it walking by or anything like that. So I'm going to cut my Scion wood this way. Let the knife do the work. Be patient. Just a little bit of pressure. And there. It's about 1.5 inches or so. I select my buds. This is my principal bud that I wanted to grow this way. Once this grows, I don't care about the rest. I may cut it and just let this one grow this way. Okay, that looks pretty good actually. Yeah, it's a really good connecting point. Very smooth. Like that, see? Alright, let's finish it. Let's take a piece of photo film and then finish wrapping it from this side. And being gentle, not to move your Scion wood and disconnect it, right? So I'm just gonna be careful not to disconnect it from where it was. Wrap it like 2 or 3 times over. Make sure my connecting point is well covered. And make sure that I put a little bit of pressure. I need to apply a little bit of pressure to keep my connecting edges making a good connection. Create a good seal over here. One more time. And then I'm going to twist it and start securing my connection like that. Okay. I'm going to take the other end, pass it through the loop, and pull. Insurance. I'm just going to twist this tape, and I'm going to make sure that all my connecting points are under a little bit of pressure like that. Okay, cool. Looks really good. Make a nice knot. And do it over. And that's it. I'm going to remove a little bit of the excess tape just for looks. Just keep it neat looking like that. Take the plastic bag. How about let's add some foil in here, just to have a little bit of variety in our grafts. And I'm just gonna take it like that. I'm gonna wrap it around, not so tight. And I want to create a little bit of a space. Air is an insulator. Remember, there are 2 layers. You have air between those 2 layers. That's insulation. So we trap a little bit of air in between the foil and the graft. And I'm just going to take a little bit of tape here and secure it. Maybe it's not needed, but I like to secure it in place. There we go. And our shape. You know what I'm going to do here? This is in a little bit of a down angle. So I'm just going to create a little opening here on the bottom. So any moisture, any extra moisture will have a place to drain. On a plastic bag. You want to staple it in place. Zip it. Once we zip it, staple. This is like the lowest point of my plastic bag, so I'm just gonna cut a little slot in there. so water can drain, just like so. Place my shade and secure it in place. I'm going to secure it in place just like that. With this thing, I think I'm just gonna keep it loose. We're still in winter time here. It just began in February. If I leave it like this, the water may rain. It's gonna get inside the bag and it's gonna accumulate here at the end. So we have a choice. You can put a staple in there. And I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to lift it like this and I'm going to put a staple. And now I can see any rain is not going to get inside the bag, but it's just going to roll down the sides. If anything gets inside, it's just going to find its lower resistance point, which is the bottom of this bag, and drain out. Cool. Last thing, our tag. So I'm going to secure my tag in place. And there. Okay. It's looking really good so far. This is our FrankenFig. Rootstock, we said, is yellow long neck. We added 8 different varieties. They are well balanced. We added grafts in all sides of the tree just to have different varieties growing in different directions, one by one. Del Sen Jaume Grand Fig. This is Kelly Lynn. Going over here, we have Quarry Fig Wild Adriatic, Panache. Here we have Peter's Honey. Then on the other side, we do have this Emerald Strawberry. We have TFH378 BRB from the Fig Hunter. And then we have the White Marcel. So I'm happy with a couple of these, take 3 or 4 or whatever, right? I mean, the yellow long neck for itself is just a really good fig, so I'm pretty happy with that. But I like to create Frankenfruit trees, so this is the FrankenFig. Okay, so we took our white canvas and we did our art. We added our grafts. All we have to do is wait and check. I'm going to be checking every 2 weeks or so to see what kind of growth are we having. Some may take shorter, some may take longer, just like with any other varieties of fruit. And I will continuously check, and whenever we have growth about that much, 2.5 inches, then I will remove at least the plastic. And if it's hot, I will probably leave just the bag, the paper bag on top for shade, until they can withstand a little bit of temperature and sun. So for now, I'm gonna keep my tree well watered. I'm watering this thing about 2 gallons every day, just to keep it moist and have all the new growth have enough hydration to grow the shoots and keep it healthy and not starving for water. So this is Frank with FrankenFruits. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.